What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Third Gen Junkies. Today we're going to be working on Black Magic, and for everybody just joining the channel that don't know about Black Magic's a 1987 Chevy Camaro IROC, black with the gold trim package, 350 tune port, shot of the engine, few aftermarket goodies. AC's been removed, LS1 fans with a Jegs relay kit. It has the Ram air boxes that you can barely see down there, 58mm BBK throttle body, MSD distributor wires, SLP headers, Y pipe all the way back 3-inch to Flowmaster 80 series. Car is a T-top car, all original, 101,990 miles. Mid dash pad, aftermarket CNC T-tops. Seat's a little torn. I did a video on this when we did a louver installation video. Here soon this car is going to be getting torn completely apart. All the bodywork's going to get done. It's going to get fixed and then put back together. Today though, we had an intermittent issue. This vehicle has two batteries. One because of the stereo system that's in the vehicle, and here recently it seems like it's not getting enough power. It'll actually intermittently, the fans will decide not to kick on, the coolant's up to temperature, and it's only when the stereo is on. So it's like the alternator's not putting out enough power to the brand new batteries, because, you know, batteries are for initial start only. The alternator sends a little bit of power to them to keep them charged, but the alternator is what powers all the accessories in the vehicle. So with that being said, I believe that the alternator is not putting out enough power. So in this video today, we'll be replacing the stock, I believe it's 105 amp, maybe 115 amp alternator for a PowerMaster unit. This guy right here, nice new PowerMaster alternator. Get out of here. It's nice, brand new. It's also been tested. Its set point on the voltage regulator is 148. A little bit of a backstory. I actually bought an alternator off of one of the Third Gen Facebook pages from a guy. Said it was for an 82 to 92 Camaro. The part number on this alternator here is 47802. It is the bolt pattern is directly across from each other, so both your mounting points are straight across. The one that he sold me, this bracket here was clocked to over here, so it wouldn't work. Basically I paid $110 for the alternator that did not work. Ended up modifying the bracket here. I actually had to cut a piece of part of the bracket, shorten it, and I had to drill the other mounting hole out a little bit because it wouldn't work properly. Basically, long story short, for some reason the alternator wasn't the right one. The part number of the alternator that he sold me was, let me check my phone here. It was part number 47861, and it's not the right one. So if anybody ever tries to sell you a 47861 PowerMaster alternator for a Chevy small block 305 350, it will not work. Also, the way that they are designed, as you can tell, most alternators here, you have the mounting screws that go through the front housing to the back housing. So we have these screws here, 1, 2, and 3. I tried to take those off and rotate them. Only problem is when the mounting hole here rotates, since this is one solid housing, when you rotate this mounting hole and get this one to line up, now this one will be off and won't work. So that being said, I did a Google search on the alternator that I got from him, the 47861. Didn't really get a clear answer on it. Mainly it said it was a Chevy Truck 350 97 to 2001 or something, which is a Vortec 350 Vortec style. So I looked up powermaster.com, sent them an email. Coming to find out that they are right around the corner from my job. They're 7 minutes from my 9 to 5. I sent an email and asked them if I could bring this alternator to them to see if I could get it checked out, to see if they could clock it, or if it was wrong, could I possibly get credit or something of the sort, or if I'd have to, I will buy a new one. Ended up not having it in my truck. Wife brought it up to me at work. I ended up taking it to them, and a great guy by the name of Keith, he goes by KG up there, he was really cool, really nice. He took the alternator in the back. He said, I'll just swap the housing out, I'll make it work, no problem, blah blah blah. I told him I did not buy it from them, that it was bought from someone else that I bought it from. And he proceeded to bring it out to me and showed me the casing and the stator and the insides, and it was burnt up. It was toasted. So he said in this condition they would basically just scrap it. They wouldn't even attempt to do anything with it because of the fact that there really is no point in trying to do anything to fix it, because it is basically done. So I told him if you have the right one, I will purchase it. So that's what I did. I bought the unit that I've already shown you guys, part number 47802 again. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to swap it out for this one. Hopefully this voltage, it'll take care of the voltage issue. We won't have a problem. It's a straightforward job, very simple, doesn't take very long. It takes a 13 millimeter for your top bolt here. It takes a 14 millimeter for the top bolt here. It is a 10 millimeter for the one wire right here. There's a plug that's down here that has to be unplugged, and then the other bracket bolt for this is also a 13 millimeter. Very simple, very straightforward. Before you get started, the one thing, also you'll need a, I won't do it on my video, I won't do this on my video, but there's a hole right here in the alternator bracket. Usually shove a tire iron or a pipe in there to pull it up and tension your alternator so your belt is nice and tight, and then you tighten the bolt down, and then tighten your 13 down here, and then you tighten down your 14 here. But when you do that, you press on your air intake tube here. You could take this section off and it won't be in your way. Me, I just stick it in there. It bends, it flexes, just like you see me doing here. It flexes out of the way, it's not a problem. So basically we're going to swap this out, and the first thing you want to do is you want to unhook your positive lead to your battery so that you don't end up arcing anything off, because you do have this wire that is here that is potentially could be hot. I don't know if it is or it isn't. Hot meaning that it has a 12 volt source power running through it, and if it arcs off of anything metal, you're going to get sparks. It's not going to be a good situation. So you want to unhook your positive first, and then you go from there. And literally you're only using a few tools. I'm probably going to use my ratchet this time, just to remove the alternator. Normally I do all of this with a wrenches. because I like to see everything that I like to feel how tight I'm tightening it. I don't do the whole torque wrench method. I really haven't ever. So I have my wrenches here. All my wrenches are here, and I got my sockets. So I'll go ahead and let's see. We need the 13, the 14. We're definitely gonna need our wrenches. So we'll bring them over here, and as usual, like all third gen junkies do, we are going to out front watering the plants, baby. She's out front watering the plants. Yes, stay in the front yard, please. Okay, so like I said, first things first, you remove your positive cable from your battery. I've basically already taken care of that. So basically you want to take off, easiest thing to start off with your 13 mil here. That's going to loosen your tension and it's going to fold down. That is the one that keeps your tension. The alternator will fold down like so. You slide your belt off, because this belt, serpentine belt, only runs to crank the water pump and your alternator. Don't lose your bolts. Put that one there. Then next, I know this one's kind of hard because there's a ground right here for the relay for the LS1 fans that are on this. So I use a 14 mil ratchet wrench because I can actually get on it a little bit better. So I'll go ahead and pull this off. So you want to pull this bad boy off here. What in the world is that? Oh. And where I cut this little spacer piece out, I want to make sure that I don't drop it into the grass or into technically what is. So just loosen that. The bolt will slide out. Put that up there. Your bolt slides forward like so. Pull that guy out. Pull the washer piece out. That's where I actually cut it and modified it in the past. Then all I do is I'll lift my alternator up out like so. Unhook your plug here, and I usually just set it like this. Pull this guy back here, 10 millimeter. I like using wrenches because of the fact that you never know. You don't want to use your electric impacts because you could actually over torque something and tear something up. So screw that back on, because this thing still works. And then what I like to do is I'll take this rubber boot, and even though it's the positive's unhooked, I like to unhook it here, and I like to cover whatever it's supposed to cover so that it doesn't arc off anything if by chance the battery terminal touches again. Then we're going to, what I like to do is I like to set them side by side. Okay. And you want to make sure that everything lines up the way it's supposed to. So you have your mounting hole here, which is there, and your mounting hole there, which is there, which is perfect. These tags can come off. And then actually, one thing that's kind of cool that I like about Power Master is they give you these cool little clips like that. I think shot off of their rocket. But you can actually take this, and like I said, this alternator is good. It just seemed like it just didn't have enough to keep everything working. Wait, shit, so I'm gonna put that on there like that. But I like to compare them like you're supposed to. Make sure all your mounting points are the same, that your bolts are the same, which they are. They give you this new bolt here, which is extremely long, which is odd. I don't know why that bolt would need to be that long, but we'll just basically reuse this bolt for here. More than likely what I'll do is I'll just reuse the stock bolts because I know that they work. So we're gonna take this off. And then what I like to do is I like to take this bolt when I swap the bracket, and I gotta put the spacer piece in there like so, and I like to line this up and then I spin it like so and put that guy on there so that I know that it's lined up with that hole perfectly. So when I go to put it on, there is no, it's not off a little bit and I don't have any issues. So I'll tighten this down. Oop, spun around on me there. Like that. Alright. Probably should have did this up on the car or somewhere else first, but okay, and then see, it's nice and tight like that. And then it's basically just the reverse. Oh, and with the Power Master, they do have it's a different size bolt here, so we won't be reusing the nut off of the stock one down there. So what we'll do is, this guy is like a 7/16, I believe. So what we're gonna do next is, the way I do it is this. Go like this. The plug is always the hardest to get to because it's all the way in the back. So I put the plug in like so. This wire sits in front of this bracket. And line up your hole like so. Now comes the fun part. You kind of got to stick your bolt into your fan shroud. Slide your swivel bolt, the long one, to your alternator. To the alternator hole all the way through. Most important key, as any mechanic will tell you, easiest way to do this, always, please just listen, always start your bolts by hand, and then once you get them to thread a few threads, I use the box end of the wrench, the 14, and tighten it like so. Just to make sure it's nice and seated in there like that. And then the next thing I do is, once it's in there and swivel, I don't tighten it all the way down. What I do is I flip it all the way out like so. And I like to try to use what I have available to me like this. I will try to use like the hose or something to hold it. Or you could just set it like that. And then what I do is I'll take, and actually, let's see here. Oh, I know it. Yeah, I gotta go get the 7/16. So slide this guy out like this. This guy by hand like so, and then now I gotta head over here to Old Blue because I gotta get the 7/16. I forgot about that. Head over here and back in the truck and wait, I think it was actually a 7 mil. don't know, I'll grab the 9/32 and the quarter, just check, and grab 1/4 inch ratchet. I think it was. Hi. What you doing? You watering the plants?
Yeah, but I need to know for water.
No more water? Okay, well you gotta listen to Marty. Okay, so it's definitely not the 1/4 inch. 7mm. Let's see if the 9/32 fits. 9/32 has a little play, but the 7mm fits good. So we'll go like this. Flip this down a little bit. Start squishing my skin in there. Nice and snug, like so. And I'll take this guy, fold him over, looks like stock. All right, next up, you wanna fold it forward like this. Usually you wanna lift up on the alternator a little bit. Lift up on the bracket in the alternator. I'm going to start this bolt here, which a lot of times ends up being a pain. So what I do is I know some people will probably disagree with this, but a lot of times you can file this groove in here. But a lot of times it's just this bracket gets tweaked, so you can actually pull down. See how I just pulled down on it a little bit, and it just brought it down just enough. Oh, and then I dropped the bolt. Here we go. Stay there, serpentine bolt. Okay, and I just pull down just enough to get it in there, right centered. Started like so. Alright, just like that. And then, next step, you want to make sure that your serpentine belt is on your water pump. You fold it all the way forward. And I'm not totally sure why, but the vehicle calls for a 6 rib. So I believe it's 6 ribs is the whole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which makes it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the tall ribs. This vehicle only has 4 tall ribs. So once it's in the grooves, it's not going to walk. It won't move anywhere. So it just has an extra rib on it, which is fine by me. You just want to make sure that you're in your grooves on your water pump. Make sure you're in your grooves down here on your crank. And then I usually just pull it up by hand at first, like so. Want it all the way at the very back. Wait, hold on. Actually, I think I'd want it at the front. By the looks of this, the way it lines up, let's see here. Let's double check this. See, with that, it almost looks a little cockeyed all the way to the back, to the very back of the pulley. So we'll put it to the front like so, and that looks straighter to me there. Okay, and then like I said, you take your pry bar, shove it down in there, you get under the alternator just a little bit on the housing. And the only thing that kind of sucks about this is the Power Master sticker on this particular model faces the ground when it should actually be up here to where you can actually see it. So literally get on it, pull it up to nice and tight like so, and then you want to take your 13mm wrench, or socket or ratchet. You want to tighten this one all the way down. And I mean, you want it to be pretty tight because you don't want your alternator to move. Like so. And then you want to take your 14, go in here. I'm going to tighten this guy down. Just tight like so. And it's funny looking because as I'm looking down at it, it looks a little bit cockeyed. Just a hair. I think that's because a little bit of the material that was moved, or I removed here from this bracket. So I could actually loosen this a hair if I wanted to. That'll bring the bracket out a little bit. It's not going to come all the way out, so not too worried about it. But so that should be fine right there. And then you just hook up your positive, which I'll do here in a second. Hook it back up, and then we'll start it up and make sure everything's copacetic. And also, I just learned this not that long ago. This is one thing that's kind of crazy I never knew. But if you actually want to check to make sure that your alternator is tight, you really don't go by torque specs or like the actual tension on the belt. How PowerMaster does it and how they suggest is you literally what you do is you put your belt on, you tighten it to what you think is tight, okay, and then you would take, and it's kind of hard with these alternators because they have this lip here and then they have this step down lip right here, so you have to use a chrome deep well socket, the thin wall socket, not a impact socket, and you have to put it on here, and then what you do is you turn it, and if the pulley spins without the belt spinning, it is not tight. That means you need to tension it more and make it tighter and lock it down. If you turn this pulley and the whole belt and the pulley turns along with your alternator pulley and your crank pulley, then it's fine. So that's how that works. I didn't know that. It was all new to me. It's kind of weird. I just thought you just pull it as tight as you can and then you just lock the bolts down and it's good. Well, unbeknownst to me, there's another way to do it. So basically that's it. I mean, I'm gonna clean up these tools real quick. Actually, I'm gonna probably just set them off to the side, and I'm gonna start the car, make sure everything's good and copacetic and it's running all right. And I've got our good voltage and everything's straight. And then we'll see what's going on after that. So let's see here. I'm gonna go put this battery cable on real quick. Okay, 13. It's nice and tight. All right, good. Okay, put that back. Put the 10 back in here. Sorry guys, but I am to a point. I am anal about my tools, so put these down here for right now because they'll all go back in the truck in a second. see what happens here. So, let's say we're reading right above. It was supposed to be 14.8 volts. Looks like it's reading right where it should. 45 pounds of oil pressure. Some reason, yeah, she'll drop down. There she goes. We're down about 900. That's good. Hopefully this will solve the issue that we're having with the volts, because for some reason it seemed like only when the stereo was on, the old Kenwood tape deck, and you know, you can Bluetooth to it, but when it was on and it was pulling all them volts, it would, for some reason, it would just, I don't know, it just seemed like it would just not tell the fans to turn on when they're supposed to. Now this vehicle has, you know, the JEGS relay kit where they're supposed to come on at about 170 degrees, so the car should never get over 170, and in the past it never has. So steering belt looks a little loose. I might have to address that in a little bit, make another video on that, but that should have basically addressed the issue. Magic. I think we're good for now. Shut it off and get everything cleaned up here. Put her back in the garage where she belongs until the next cruise night. Take this alternator and put it in the stock box, or put this alternator, the stock alternator, in the PowerMaster box, and then put it on the shelf with the rest of the stock parts from Blackmagic, and we'll go from there. It almost seems like it's possibly might start sprinkling, and this car doesn't see, it's seen rain before, but not quite often. So now Blackmagic has another nice and shiny new piece under the hood to go with all the rest. She's a little dirty, valve covers are dirty, not too bad, but can't beat it. She runs amazing. So that being said, guys, it's a super simple fix. Hopefully this takes care of all the issue that we're having.
Not just any sunken ship.
So hopefully that takes care of all the issues that we're having with the voltage and everything. If not, I'll just have to try to address another, see if there's other issues. Sorry, I went in where it was dark. See if there's any other issues that need to be addressed with it, and get some stuff together for it. But as always, there's always third gens to work on. There's always something to do. So, you know, I got more video coming, more content. As you can see, poor Ruby, she's been neglected. She's been turned into a table. There's parts everywhere on top of her. Most of them are for her, but she's become a table again. So sorry, Ruby. That's going to be addressed in the next video, probably, and I'll be taking care of some stuff on Ruby, try to get some more accomplished on her. Got some work to do, and summer's closing real fast. Snow will be here before we know it. So as always, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop a comment below, let me know what you want to see. I've constantly been trying to upload every Wednesday and Saturday. I've kind of slowed down on videoing as much, but I'm trying to get as much content together as possible. So yeah, that's the end of this one. Peace.